Hello, good morning. Welcome to QTV's This Morning Breakfast Show. I'm your host today, Mamadou Boch. Balde is not around. Balde's favorite. Well, I've got today with me Mr. Ade Darami. Ade, can you imagine?
It's like weekend review.
Absolutely, it's like the weekend review. There's no Jaina today, no Balde, so
right.
we're doing it today.
Sure.
So the usual,
Yeah.
isn't it? First we'll have the proverb, African proverb, and we also have Gambia at 60.
Yes.
There's another segment, independence, cultural heritage, festivals, traditions, and unity. Well, who are we going to talk to there?
I think we just have a video
We
to
just
play.
have a video to play.
So what we do in this slot is we normally play one of the videos that we featured on the 8 p.m. news.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have, what's the name of the group? There's a honoring excellence.
This is the teacher
exactly,
award.
The teacher prize.
The teacher
Gambia
prize.
Teacher Prize.
That's right.
So we'll talk to chairman of the NAMI Foundation.
Yep.
They're working in collaboration with the ministry.
That's right.
So they handed out some gongs as
That's right.
earlier.
Alassane Suso.
Al-Hassan
And also
Suso.
Angelique Aissatou-Mendy.
Yes, she won the overall one, didn't she?
That's right.
So
So
that's it. And afterwards, dealing with incidents, we'll
Fire.
be talking to the
Yeah.
fire people, representative from the fire and rescue services.
Sure.
And we
I think,
discuss that.
and particularly just to inform the viewers, we wanted to broaden this one beyond just recent fire incidents.
Exactly.
There have been lots of recurring allegations about, people from the fire service getting to fires and saying, we don't have this, we don't have that. And so we didn't want to just concentrate on the 3 big ones that happened last week, 3 big fires, but just generally get them to address these allegations.
That's it. And the last time we talked about this, was it on the Weekend Review? We said whether we've been conducting investigations to know exactly what's been the cause of these
And that would
fires,
be good
so
to know.
that people will be,
quite.
will prepare better. And the final segment would be Ajib Bank Limited. They inaugurated the new building, and you emceed that program.
I emceed it and embarrassed myself by leaving my phone on the podium when His Excellency the President was speaking, and somebody decided to ring me
Imagine
at that moment. It was on silent, but it was vibrating, and it was quite annoying. I had to apologize after. Yeah.
So that's it. Our proverb today. What is this? You see, I haven't got my glasses.
I'll
Ade.
read it.
Something happened to me today, Ade. I forgot my glasses at home.
Oh dear. So let me read. You've done well so far, but this is slightly smaller font. And it says, the boiling water that softens the potato hardens the egg.
Imagine that.
So what's your take on that? I have a particular take on it. Beyond the kind of what it describes.
Is it about character and circumstance?
Yeah, I mean, well, let me dive in, because as soon as I read it, I formed a particular thing in my head. And this is that, something isn't just one thing.
Yes.
So an individual, for example, you are somebody's son.
Yes.
You're somebody's father. You're somebody's ex-husband. And so we're never, as human beings, we're never just one thing. So when somebody says, I am just this,
Yes.
I always say, oh, no, you're not.
Yes.
And the reason I mention this is that when I used to sort of teach young children how to write stories, they used to say, oh, I'm not good at writing. And so what I used to do, I would give them, I said, within the end of this week, you'll be a writer. And they said, no, it will never happen. I said, okay. So on the first day they came to me, or they would come to me, I would say to them, tell me about your journey from your home to here. And they would write it. The next day, I would say, tell me about your journey and everybody you interacted with from your home to here. On the third day, tell me about everybody in your house that you interacted with. Mention your mother, your father, any siblings that you had. And they would add that to the story. And by the end of the week, of course, they are a storyteller. And they were like, oh, no. So, it shows you that if people can be taught to kind of acquire that skill. But the reason I mention it in this context is that it shows you that you are not just one person.
Absolutely.
You're saying you're not just one thing, rather, as a person. You are many things, and you are different things to different people. Here I'm somebody's manager. Outside of here, to my siblings, I'm that annoying sibling of theirs who left and now lives in the Gambia. So You know, I'm not just one thing, and in terms of my makeup and my personality, I'm anything. And so, the water, yes, it both softens the potato, but of course it boils the egg.
Then it boils the egg. That's exactly it. I think maybe that was what I meant when I said that.
Character.
Character perhaps more important than circumstance. You can conquer your circumstance, really, depending on the kind of character that you have. So you can be one thing here, but another thing there.
Exactly.
You can do different things. That's very important
you
to
hear
note,
somebody talk about somebody who is a murderous dictator, and they say, oh, in family life, he's most loving husband and father. You know, and so, you know, you have that dichotomy there. So yes, and same with the hot water. It will soften the potato, but it will harden the egg.
That's it. So it's important for people to understand that about themselves. You never really know what you can do or you can't unless you try it.
This is it.
Go for it. Absolutely. Always go for it. Then you'll surprise yourself.
Sure.
Sometimes you surprise yourself.
This is it. Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
So good. I think we've killed that one. So shall we take a commercial break?
Yes, we'll take a commercial break.
And then we come back, we can delve into the newspapers.
Yes.
Some interesting stories.
Without newspapers. Okay, we'll take a short break then.
I have First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte, rifled in! Out.
Hidandi da wawi sodude cash power e Q money wallet maong te ayobata hai hunde ida wawi sode ko yehi ha guluji chapan $30. Kawatano baby, wadu dial star 323 has joka sartaji ding subada option 3 fi Q power. Ontumasi subada register meter number sa gaini natina number meter maong. Wadu dial star 323 has joka sartaji ding subada option 3 fi Q power. Ontumasi subada ko jelu falda sodude. Awawa hebude kobura Andrere free QCell airtime. Watu kala soruda Q power. Fi hebugol hen kolabi. The why no de 133 Q money sunyu kalpe.
Hello, welcome back from that commercial break. So now, Adi, we go straight to our newspaper review.
And as you don't have a pad or your glasses,
I don't have my glasses. I don't have a pad.
To me.
Imagine this.
And so I will dive straight into. I can't believe I'm saying this, but one of the big stories over the weekend was the Kiang Masembe ward by election.
Yeah,
so I go straight to the Standard newspaper, where it says Barrow congratulates Dabo UDP on Masembe victory. And just to say, if at the top of the newspaper we have Talib Ahmed bin Suda saying Masembe triumph puts UDP on strong footing ahead of 2026. Mr. Mboj, I think we're on similar wavelength here, but I'll go for your thoughts first of all.
Absolutely. Does it really? It's difficult to gauge.
Sure.
It's just one small ward. You know what I mean? Is it a bellwether?
1,201 persons voted.
Yes.
The winner got 700, the loser 500, and there was one spoiled vote.
Yep.
What I found remarkable, and that's why I said when I was introducing the story, I can't believe I'm saying that this was one of the most talked over. You would have thought that this was a National Assembly by-election, not a ward of 1,200 people. Such were the resources thrown at it, the amount of coverage it got, and the claims. This was a seat that you held onto, UDP. And here we have Talib saying that it puts them on a strong footing ahead of 20. You retained the seat.
Yes.
You didn't snatch it from anybody.
Yes.
The hysteria around it, I found quite remarkable. I can understand why, NPP wanted it, because, for them it would be making inroads into what is perceived as a stronghold of the UDP. But it was a ward. Let's get a reality check here. It was a ward election where 1,201 persons voted. Let's not start extrapolating general election and presidential results from this. I think people need to kind of manage expectations. But such has been the coverage over the weekend. Social media websites, sites, and all of them say, "Oh, this means so and so forth." Like, seriously? Come
Absolutely.
on. Let's get real.
And normally with wards or even National Assembly elections, that's really when the electorate, really, when they're not happy about certain things, that's where how they protest, isn't it, really? With the incumbents really tend to suffer, as it were, from these by-elections.
And yet, you know, 200 difference between the two. The two contesting gentlemen were cousins, and we had interviewed them ahead of the by-election, and they said, you know, regardless of what happens, of course, we're still family, and there'll be no enmity, and there wasn't any bitterness in the campaign. But all the big guns from both the parties, and in fact from the NPP, the only big gun who didn't go there was the president in the kind of run-up to. So it's quite remarkable. You wouldn't imagine that it was a ward that was that small, such were the resources thrown at it.
And interesting, the congratulations from the president.
From the president, he's sending congratulations, and NPP did put out a longish press release, which I have here. I won't read it, or just to say, in effect, they're saying, you know, they talk about all the development that's gone on, over 100 kilometers of new roads being constructed, electricity is reaching communities that have long been in darkness, and for the first time in history, a state-of-the-art health center stands tall in Jali, named after one of Kiang's most revered son, Alkali Nyakudi. And so they're saying these are developments NPP have brought to your region. So remember, when 2026 comes along, is the thing. So there's that story, and as I said, we've spent quite a lot of that. So also on I go to the Point newspaper now. If our colleagues can put that on screen, Barrow says vision is beyond road projects. Yes, we know the road projects are significant. These infrastructure, they're kind of life-changing ones, really. And so at the statement that he made at the official commissioning, because we've been using Bertel Harding Highway, so this was phase 1 and 2 that was now commissioned as having been completed, and phase 3, it was mentioned, will include walkways, and the side roads will include dual carriageways and so on. So, you know, but he went on to say that, you know, my vision for the country is not just about, important though these are, it's not just about that.
But this is what we talk about all the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, of course, the infrastructure, we need that. But again, there are other things that you must do, really, to improve the welfare of people. And in the end, we normally take Senegal as an example. You know, from Ablai Wade, I mean, when it comes to infrastructure, what he did, in the end, they said, move Macky Sall as well.
Macky Sall.
Infrastructure, they built all sorts of things, but in the end, it takes much more than that. Really?
Well, that's right. So you know, as I said, this was, and though in the corner there you have in the Point newspaper, "Good morning, Mr. President," and what do they look at? Independence expenditure, the Jammeh trial. What trial? I presume they mean prospective, and NAWEC. NAWEC is always with us as a talking point, Mr. Mboj, but also in the middle there, they have QCell launches annual Ramadan Ndogo distribution targeting 300 locations. Of course, we know all about that, as obviously we are part of the Q group.
Yes, but just that the expenditure,
expenditure.
For a bit. What do you make of it?
Well,
some people are saying that, hey, look, we could have better spent that money instead of putting in this. What do you think of that?
We could have spent that money if the figure was correct. Nobody's bothered to verify. So somebody threw out this 100 million figure, never say where they got it, never said what it was spent on, and everybody's run with it. So I've told my journalists, don't use it unless you can verify it. So I'm not sure how much was spent, you know, spent on what. But yes, that seems to have been what has happened, and everybody's being forced to react to it. But the government has not come out and said this is how much or how little was spent. So of course, because they haven't done that, of course everybody's gone, they're running with the $100 million figure.
So it is important that the government comes out and said,
and said this is what we spent, and this is what we spent it on.
Absolutely.
Because if you look at it, really, although 60th anniversary celebrations, we've talked them up as being bigger than ever. But what was different about it? We had the usual March past, we had the usual sports day. There was nothing different. So where would this extra expenditure have come
We
from?
had two presidents.
Based on what?
We haven't had
this
them
is
for
it.
a while.
Yeah, quite.
I suppose.
Well, this is it. So, you know, I'm not sure where this money was supposed to have gone, been spent on. But, you know, I've told my guys in the team, if you want to use that figure, prove to me that that is the figure. And that's where, don't just take it because you saw it on some social media post, you know. So that's how we've kind of dealt with it. But it would be good to know, because I think, you know, it's created this narrative that it was being kind of wasteful. And as you rightly say, if that was the figure, then of course there are lots of other things that you could have spent it on. And one can always say that about these things. So yeah, and if it was 100 million, did it come all from the government coffers and so on? Yeah.
So this is it. People will always complain, though.
Regardless.
You know, that kind of spending,
Yeah.
they see it as being wasteful, really.
Yes.
You know, whereas a lot of people are really complaining about this, complaining about that, the cost of living and all the rest of it. Why spend it there?
Yeah.
But you do have to spend.
Yeah,
Sometimes you're marking your diamond jubilee. You do
It's a
spend.
big event.
It's just the nature of
It's a big
things,
event. And,
really.
you know, they wanted to make it memorable. And I think for many people it was. And we at QTV, as people may know, we wanted it to be Diamond Jubilee month, February, and we're still featuring stories every day on the news reflecting that, you know. But as you said, it's a figure that's come up and a topic that's come up.
Yeah.
And so in the corner there on the Point newspaper, UDP retains Masembe ward seat. Party leader hails Kiang. Gambia to eliminate tariffs on 90% of goods trading within Africa. I thought they were going to say to impose tariffs on goods from America, but no, it's not. To eliminate
Well,
tariffs.
that's trending with Trump in the US and his
Quite.
tariffs. We thought
And remarkably, they quote Bensouda again, UDP victory in Masembe ward, a blow to ruling party. Again, like I said, without insulting him, I think that's, you know, for the fact that you retained a seat, I'm not sure how you can see that as a blow to a ruling party when it was yours anyway. You just held on to it.
kind of a storm in the teacup.
We're very much so.
To make a massive.
Well, yeah, so I'll go now. We haven't got to Foroya yet, so
Yes.
I will go to, but I'll go back to Standard for another interesting story from next door. And this one is interesting too. Gambian youth confront Senegalese soldiers over border trade. Not sure what exactly has happened there, but this is something that tends to flare up in countries where you have a shared border. I mean, without wishing to alarm anybody, in Sierra Leone, the way the civil war spilled over from Liberia to Sierra Leone was because the border guards and the immigration people had ripped off some Liberians, and they were so angry they stormed the border post. And when they realized how easy it was to get in, they just poured in from Liberia and kind of imported their war into Sierra Leone, and it just escalated from there. It was as simple as that. The border was so badly manned because we never expected that there'd be any kind of invasion from Liberia, and of course what it did happen. So I'm not sure what exactly led to this confrontation, but I guess it's one that we will be digging into throughout the day.
And with us, given the geography, we have this periodic flare up tension, as it were.
Right.
So
Yeah, and so here also on Foroya, we have Gambian authorities warn bars and restaurants over drug activity. I'm not sure what has happened to prompt this, whether they're warning them, don't allow drug activity on your premises, don't allow people to sell or use, illicit drugs on your premises.
It's so vague, isn't it?
Yeah.
Drug
yes.
activity.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
But I guess the headline is
Yeah,
old, but
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
the story delves deeper
yeah.
into it. But also a very concerning one here: 300,000 meters of sediment lost annually on Gambia's coastline.
Yes.
We all know people are always building, they're always digging without seemingly anybody stopping them. You go to some coastlines and you see people loading these trucks with sand. You see how they've eaten into the coastline, and you can go there and take videos and take pictures, and nobody seems to be stopping them. It's almost as if they seem to think that this is a kind of infinite resource that you can just keep chopping away at it, and there'll be more. There'll always be more. But of course, there won't always be more. And in some coastlines, but this, I mean, I'm not sure, you know, what that equates to, but it just sounds like a big figure, 300,000 meters of sediment lost annually. So we're not talking about kind of tonnage. We're talking about, you know, length, 300,000 meters. That's long.
Absolutely.
That's long.
We thought that we had an infinite sort of resource, you know, to harness, but really the great theme of our time is about sustainability.
This is it.
Actually, you don't.
Yeah, quite.
What you thought the whole time, and this is it. But we've always complained about this, haven't we? Sort of having laws and enforcing them. Or rather, a powerful person can come, he just ignore the rules. Well, we always complaining about
in fact,
that.
you know, I had to smile when you said a powerful person can ignore the rules. I'll give you an example of something I saw today. If you're driving along Cairo Avenue, there's a Comium place, corner where it used to be American Corner, the old American Corner. And that side street there has been very, very bad. And so they've now decided to concrete it.
Yes,
and so they've put a barrier there for cars not to come and use it and join Cairo Avenue. Guess what I saw this morning? Somebody driving up that road. So obviously when they get to the junction, they're just going to lift the cones that have been put there to stop traffic, and they'll join Cairo Avenue and then probably put the cones back. There's a reason why they don't want you to use it, because it's not ready to be used yet. But that's the kind of lawlessness that goes on here. And that person probably sit in their office when they get there and talk about, oh, people are corrupt, they don't follow the law, they don't do this. That is a kind of corruption as well, sorry, you know.
That's exactly it. When you have people themselves, this is really quite, I don't know what to call it, it's quite bewildering about this, our society in many ways. We don't like rules and laws.
This is it.
We like convenience.
They're for everybody else, not for me.
Not for me.
Yeah,
Whatever is convenient for me, oh, I can do it. Or I've got the title, or I've got the name, or all sorts of irrelevant
this
stuff,
is it.
really.
So, you know, and, you know, our colleague Matilda was in the car, and I said, look what we've just passed. Somebody driving up a road where they're not supposed to be driving. And again, when they were building Bertel Harding, we're talking about it now being formally commissioned, I live on Bertel Harding Highway, and there were segments and sections that they'd put barriers, and people would just drive up to them, lift the barriers, drive past and put it back. Or sometimes they wouldn't even put it back, they would just drive on, and then everybody else would then start using it, when there was a reason why, because that particular stretch of road had not been completed, and you were not meant to drive on it yet. And yet people did it every single blasted day. It was really annoying. I could watch from my window and just see, look, there they go again. You know, it's terrible. So
I think that's why some people will say that, oh, we want the Gambia back.
You know, this
that
is
sort of thing, firm.
They kind of, you have to scare them into following the rules. It shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way, because it's for all our benefits. The reason they're fixing the road is that once it's finished, we will all use it. But let it be finished and let it reach its proper, sort of a conclusion in terms of building. So if we have time, I'll go to one interesting story. We'll be very quick on it, and it's back to the Standard, and it's in the top right-hand corner, and it says Casamance, PM Sonko reaches peace agreement with MFDC. Wow. We smiled when we heard this, Mr. Mboj, because we thought, yeah, he might be able to do exactly that. I mean, this has been the long-running conflict dispute.
Since 1982.
Well, this is it. Since 1982, it flared up into a kind of armed conflict. And there's been a kind of low-level simmering. It bubbles over, then it simmers down again. And if this is a lasting peace agreement, I think it will be welcomed by all. But it would be good to see what the details are. So I follow him on Facebook, so I'll go and check and see what he says about it.
Absolutely, and we are very much interested in it because of the Foni area. It always spills over to this
Gambia.
place.
Yeah, so you know, it might be a Senegalese story, but it definitely has a kind of Gambian element to it, because there have been many times when even shells from the conflict have spilled over and landed in the Gambia. You know, the bullet doesn't know that it's crossing a border.
Absolutely. And we've sort of even floated the idea that perhaps Gambia could be a mediator in this,
in the conflict,
given our relationship and how much it affects us. We are very much part of it. But this is a good thing. And Sonko, he's from that
well, that's right.
That
That's
area,
right.
isn't it?
Yes.
It's from the
So he can
region.
use his that's
Exactly,
sort
it
of
could be easier.
easier for him than for other people to negotiate. Yeah.
Absolutely. And this group, Sonko and Joe Mai Fai, they've come in as this radical as it were, voice,
Well,
so they could gain the trust.
This is it.
That's it. It's a
You know.
question of trust.
Yeah.
Then you.
Yeah. Yes. And I think it's true to say that there had not been that element of trust between MFDC and previous regimes. But yes, Sonko obviously has that connection, and he can use that, and perhaps that's what he's done. So yeah, it'd be an interesting one to follow.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we've come to the end of that segment, Ade.
Okay, cool.
Thank you very much there for reading the headlines for us. See, I haven't got my glasses on
Well,
today.
I'll tell you what's next. It's a commercial break. and then we hope to have a Gambia at 60 segment.
Segment, exactly.
But I think you have some guests in the studio already,
Yes.
so we might go to the guests.
That's it. That's the Gambia
Alassane
Teacher
Suso
Prize.
and Angelique.
Yes, the head of NAMI Foundation.
That's right.
And Angelique Aissatou-Mendy,
Yep.
who won the Gambia
That's it.
Teacher Prize.
That's right, overall.
The whole country. Okay, we'll go for a short commercial break. When we return, the show continues.
This year's Independence celebration was held under the theme Marching in Solidarity for Self-Reliance and National Development. The event commenced with the arrival of schools and high-profile dignitaries, including the Vice President, the Minister of Higher Education, plus the Ministers of Tourism, Environment and Climate Change, Agriculture, Information, the Interior, Defense and Public Security, and the Chief of Defense Staff. The march past was led by the Army Band, Al-Hussein Fati from Grace Bilingual Nursery School in Kanifing South, dressed in attire resembling that of the President Adama Barrow, delivered a speech highlighting the importance of preserving the nation's culture and heritage.
Preserving the nation for what it requires us to cherish and safeguard our identity, history, culture, social structures, relationships, and everything else that distinguishes us as a people. To succeed in this national endeavor, the government will choose to manage our affairs, the constitution and laws that regulate behavior, the institutions that provide services, and the territorial boundaries that defend our land. So faith must be at the heart of whatever we do.
This event, celebrated annually, showcasing unity and a strong commitment to early childhood education. The Association of Early Childhood Educators, the Gambia, was established in 1992 to support the growth and development of early childhood education in the country. For the children who gathered here today, this event will serve as a reminder of the beginning of a long journey that started in 1965, long before they were born. However, they are here today as the future leaders of the Gambia, entrusted with the responsibility of continuing the legacy of freedom. For QTV News, I am our Bob.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte, rifled in! Out.
Hidandi da wawi sodude kaf.
Hello, you're watching QTV's Breakfast Show this morning. Now, our next segment. Last week, they had a Gambia Teacher Prize Awards, and in the studio, we've got the people responsible. We've got the head of NAMI Foundation. They are working in collaboration with the ministry to honor teachers. So I've got here the chairman of NAMI Foundation, Alassane Suso, and the winner of the national the prize, the national winner, Angelique Mendy. So Alassane Suso, chairman of NAMI Foundation, welcome. And Angelique Aissatou-Mendy, you're the national winner of the Gambia Teacher Prize. 2025. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Perhaps I should begin with the foundation. Why the prize? Tell us about NAMI and why you've come up with this idea.
Thank you. So NAMI, people ask, what does it mean?
Exactly.
NAMI Foundation simply means, Na Aminata. That's my late beloved grandmother. The
Na
foundation,
Aminata.
yeah, Na Aminata Suso. So, but we affectionately called her NAMI. So when we were growing up, that's how the whole community, that's how we refer to her. And the foundation was named after her because her passing was part of the reason I became a teacher. And as a result, to honor her legacy, we've named the foundation after her.
Oh, you've been a teacher yourself?
Yes, I am currently a teacher in the U.S.
All right. So how long? This is what, the second award?
This is the second edition of the Gambia Teacher Prize. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Angelique,
Yes.
how does it feel to be the winner?
I feel honored. Honestly, I feel so honored because it's a reflection of what I believe in, that women can break barriers. So winning, it's an honor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But with us in this country, we've had women teachers ever since for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
A good number of our teachers were women. But what got you into teaching?
I was inspired by my dad. My dad used to be a teacher. So growing up, I see him teaching, how he collaborated with children, how he helped children. He was always supportive. So with that, I grew up also feeling that I can do the same. So that's how I got inspired. Then, like, my friends will always tell me, being a child, if you're playing in the street of Banjul, what I normally do is I will always love to be the teacher. So that's how the inspiration came about. For me, I believe that teaching is not, like sometimes people just do it because they don't have another thing to do. But for me, it's a passion, it's a calling. So that's how it came about.
That's it. Mr. Suso, why the Gambia Teacher Prize? Do you feel that teachers are not being honored enough? Why this particular engagement? You could have chosen any other form of engagement, but you decided to do this prize, this awards. Why?
Well, so it's based on my own lived experiences. Like I said, I'm an educator in the U.S. I was just in my classroom doing what I needed to do for my students and for the community, and I've made significant impact both in my school and within the larger community, and my work became recognized. 2019, I was selected as the New York State Teacher of the Year out of 210,000 teachers, and then the subsequent year, I was selected as the NEA National Teacher of the Year out of 3.2 million public school educators in the U.S. And then as a result of that, it impacted my community significantly. And went on to, made inroads in different parts of our community in terms of recruiting and retaining teachers of color, especially male teachers, because in the U.S. that's a challenge. And I went on to, also advocate for, changes in the assessment process for immigrant kids, because it impacts many of them in terms of their ability to graduate. So those, contributions ended up transforming my community in a manner that, none of us could have imagined prior to me becoming Teacher of the Year. And then I believe that, just like I did work in my community, there are Gambian teachers who day in and day out are also doing the same in their communities. So then therefore, why don't we identify them and then highlight their stories to the country? And that's what the Gambia Teacher Prize is about.
That's it. So just take us through briefly the formation of the foundation, because I know that with the winner this year, the national winner got 100,000, and the regional winners 50, isn't it?
Yes.
Stuff like that.
Yep.
So how do you get the funding? How did you manage to put this thing together?
Yeah. So again, when I came up with the initiative, actually the foundation was established 18 months ago. It's actually a very young foundation.
Yes.
And it's, at this point, just putting our own resources there, if I have to tell you the truth. So, but I don't have a problem doing that, because I have been blessed in ways that I could not have imagined. And then it's my obligation to be a blessing to others. And then, my call to the public is that, we hope that we could partner with organizations in the country because 50,000 is a lot of money and 100,000 might also be a lot of money, but within a week or two that might go away. But for example, the ministry now gives scholarships, which helps the regional, both the regional and the national winners to further their education. We hope that as we grow this initiative, more corporations can also be a part of it, so that they could come in and provide other opportunities for these teachers, not necessarily for the foundation, but for the teachers to thank them for the work that they do in their communities. For example, one of the things I said at the award ceremony was that when you look at their videos, each and every one of them, when their community members talk about them, some of them even tear up when they speak about their impact on their communities. And some of them work in very remote part of this country, but they do it because they believe, like Angelique said, they believe in the betterment of humanity. And teachers are the backbone of any successful society. And then as a country, we should each and every day, come out and thank them. And I'm glad that today in her community, they will be doing that, because she'll be going back this afternoon. And the entire village is coming out to Soma. She's from Pakalinding. The entire village is coming out to Soma to meet her there and march her into the community. And that's how it should be.
That's it. So now back to Angelique. So tell us about your journey to becoming a teacher. So let's say you finished grade 12.
Yeah.
Afterwards, did you go before we had Yundum College, Gambia College, did you have a special teacher's training?
Yeah, I went to the Gambia College from 2014 to 2017. Yeah. So later on, I graduated, and then I was posted to Pakalinding. So since then, I've been teaching in that community. So like, I can remember when I was posted newly, because I was in a vehicle traveling, so one of my friends just told me that posting is out. So I just clicked in and then put my employment number and saw that I was posted to Pakalinding. I was wondering where in the part of Gambia is Pakalinding. So I can remember I started setting tears. So the people that I was in the vehicle with were teasing me. Maybe she has a heartbreak. And then, so I told them that it's not about that. I'm posted in Pakalinding and I don't know there. So they were encouraging me, telling me, you have to go because it's something that you choose. So maybe God is calling you there. You have to make changes there. So, and then indeed, when I went there, I've done a lot of changes in that school, because just as I said in the beginning, I believe in empowering women and girls. Not that I'm gender biased, but because I feel most of the time they are vulnerable. You have to push them beyond their limits to realize what they are capable of. So when I went to the school, I even said that in my video sitting that female teachers don't take part in anything in the school. They just teach and then that's all. So when I went, I was like, what is happening here? Are we not also good in such activities? Why are we are not only good in the classroom? So I challenged that, and then the narratives in Pakalinding of a basic has really changed when it comes to the students. Female students are taking up leadership positions, and then also the female teachers also, like, they know it. Like, it went to a level that if they're doing anything in the school, it has to be inclusive. So that's it. So for me, yeah, that's part of my teaching journey. So just as I said in the beginning, for me, it's a passion. It's not a choice. So it's a passion. It's a calling. Yeah.
So what grade do you teach?
I teach from 7 to 9.
7 to 9.
Yes.
So what would you say is the most wonderful thing about your job? I'm sure it's got its frustrations, but we wouldn't touch that. What would you say is the most wonderful thing about your job?
The most wonderful thing about my job is when I founded a girls' club in my school. Yeah, in this club, I try to empower girls, teach them about menstrual hygiene, personal hygiene, teach them about things that are going on in their life. So with this, I've seen how they're growing up to be substantial ladies, how they are taking part in community activities, in school activities. They can represent the school anywhere. Just like, you don't need to prepare them. Sometimes I just tell them, we need to do this. And then they come up with brilliant ideas. So the the passion I am putting in them, the confidence I am building in them, keep inspiring me every day. So, like for me, that's the most wonderful part of my job, seeing the girls growing up to defend themselves, to know their rights. So, so for me, it happens to be that.
Absolutely.
The impact I am putting in them,
having on them. Good. Mr. Suso,
Yes.
Any other plans? It's a new organization,
Yes.
foundation. This is your second award
Second
that you've given, second edition. Any plans for the future?
Yeah, of course. So the Nalin Foundation, so currently the Teacher Prize is our flagship initiative, but the basis of the foundation is how can we work with existing institutions like the ministry and the GTU to expand the teacher development capacity in the country. So we will be working on a number of professional developments over in the coming months and years. One of the good things about the initiative is that it has drawn a lot of interest in the U.S. For instance, both last year and this year, a huge delegation came from the U.S. to be a part of this. And each and every one of them are interested in investing and collaborating with Gambian educators. And we are grateful for that partnership, and we are also hopeful that as the initiative continues to grow and the foundation expands its avenues, we will be able to make impact not only in the education sector, but hopefully in other areas as well.
That's it. What about the response here? Have you tried to get help? You've told us about the help you're getting from the U.S. What about in this country? How has the response been to help the foundation? Would you say it was positive?
Yeah, so like I said, last year was the inaugural year, so we are in the second edition. So I think more and more people are aware of it this year than they were last year. So our hope is that as more people continue to be aware, more people can also come on board to support. Because yes, it's wonderful to have the Americans be a part of it, but as they say, charity begins at home. Exactly. So then we Gambians, this is our country. We first and foremost, it is incumbent upon us to lead the way and others to follow. So my hope is that, and I will do my part in that. I know I need to, meet with, institutions and individuals to present what this is about, and hopefully, we can garner their support, and they can contribute for the betterment of teachers. Everything that they want to do, obviously, goes to the teachers, right? We'll take care of our foundation. But, for example, in Ghana, the national winner gets a house and a brand new car. And in the U.S., similar things. So our hope is that as this initiative, but Ghana has been doing it now for about 25 years. So they're like almost 25 years ahead of us, but it's never too early or late. So our hope is that, in subsequent years, institutions and organizations in this country can also come out to support, Gambian teachers. Because when we do so, I love what one of the regional winners, said when we met with them, because they were placed at Kairaba Hotel for 2 days. And the reason for that is that it's not a competition, but rather a collaboration. And when you put them together for 2 days, working together, the synergy among them, becomes much stronger. And now, if you look at their WhatsApp group, all 7 finalists are there, fully supporting Angelique on her mission of, being the voice for, being the ambassador for teachers this coming year. So instead of creating like a competition among the teachers, you are creating opportunity for them to collaborate. And that spirit of collaboration is what I hope, not only among the teachers, but the whole country can come on board and help uplift the education sector.
Brilliant point at which to end this segment. Thank you very much, Al-Hassan Suso and Angelique, as you mentioned, the national winner of the Gambia Teacher Prize, and you are the head of the foundation. Cheers. Thank you very much. We'll take a short commercial break. When we return, the show continues.
Have you ever woken up to the soft reflection of the sunrise on the water, feeling its warmth on your skin? The waves welcome the thrill of jet skis, while laughter and life come all around. From the vibrant scenes of the locals preparing fresh, natural juices to the explosion of colors in art, design, culture, and heritage, Every moment in the Gambia is alive with creativity and culture. At International Trade Center, ITC, we believe in the power of creativity to drive change and transform lives. That's why, after the success of the European Union-funded Youth Empowerment Project, ITC is launching a new initiative with funding from the European Union focused on strengthening the Gambia's tourism and creative industries. This initiative focuses on supporting strategies and regulations, strengthening institutions, investing in responsible tourism products, enhancing marketing and branding, strengthening MSMEs, competitiveness, facilitating market linkages, and improving skills, all within the tourism and creative industries. This project will unlock opportunities, nurture talent, and promote sustainability and inclusiveness across these vital sectors. It is a journey of resilience, innovation, and growth. Together with the government of the Gambia, our partners, and the Gambian people, we are shaping a future of sustainable prosperity. We look forward to when the Gambia becomes an all-year-round tourism destination where valued tourists are drawn to the vibrancy of our land. Join us in building a brighter, more sustainable and inclusive future by leveraging the Gambia's rich cultural heritage, beautiful landscapes, and creative potential to create opportunities for all.
The European Union Youth Empowerment Project, Tourism and Creative Industries, promoting sustainable and inclusive tourism in the Gambia.
Hello, welcome back to our program this morning, our breakfast show. I'm your host today, I'm Mamadou Mbodj. So now to our next segment. Last week we had a few incidents of fire outbreak in so many different areas. So I've got here the PRO of the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services to take us through what's been happening and what they've been doing about it. I've got Mr. Ibrahim Kuyate. Mr. Kuyate, welcome to This Morning.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, that's it. I think in our news stories we covered two fires, as it were, two houses adjacent to each other, one caught fire and then afterwards the other one caught fire. Can you tell us about that incident? Can you remember, in Bakau?
Yeah.
Not far from you, the station actually.
Exactly. There was an outbreak of fire at Bakau. And then when that happened, we were communicated. I mean, the station at Bakau was contacted. But unfortunately, at the time, the vehicle was off the road, meaning it had some mechanical issues. That was why Kotu was contacted to respond, and they responded. And when they went, they realized the fire was so big they had to communicate Serekunda. Serekunda also equally responded, and then the fire was contained.
What do you mean the vehicle was faulty?
Yeah.
Because really it's an emergency service.
It is.
It should always be ready to respond to emergencies.
Yes.
So that's an interesting
Our
one.
desire is to be responding to each emergency that happens in the country. But unfortunately, these are vehicles and they are not new, so it had some mechanical issues. So it has to be off the road. It wasn't roadworthy. That was the reason Kotu was contacted. And then the respondent, Serekunda, also gave them a backup and the fire was contained.
How long did it take from when you knew that there was fire going on to your response?
Normally, when there is an outbreak of fire and we are communicated, we only take 1 minute to respond to the incident. And then you've already mentioned the incident was not far from the station. But because of that problem, that issue, that our vehicle was not roadworthy, it had some mechanical issue. That was the reason Kotu was contacted and they responded.
But how long did it take from the contact and the response?
I'm not actually sure, but you know, there are several factors also that could derail or deter our swift response to emergencies. One would be traffic congestions, and that's a common thing in the country. So there are many times when we are called, we may have the zeal to go and respond, but because of traffic objections, we may not actually get there on time. And also there'll be an incident where fires will be burning for some time before we are contacted. These are also some factors that may not be helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
More generally, these are all relevant factors, but it appears as if with this particular one, your faulty vehicle was to blame, not the traffic, not anything else.
Yes, it had a mechanical issue that was beyond our control. Yes. That was the reason.
What do you mean it was beyond your control?
Because
shouldn't you be always sort of on standby, ready? You could be called at any time.
Yes, we are always on standby.
But when the vehicle is faulty, you are not on standby, sir.
No, what I mean is, you know, in KMC, we have 3 stations. We have Kotu, we have Serekunda, and then Bakau. So all these stations are giving backup to each other. When one is down, the others will respond. So this is the way we are operating. And we only have got 1 vehicle at Bakau.
How would you respond to this? One of the witnesses said when the vehicle came, there was no water. Is that true?
Yeah, this is a common allegations leveled against the Gambia Fire Rescue Service. And we always appreciate it because we are accountable to people we are serving. But that will never happen. In fact, before I joined the fire service, I used to think the same pattern. But that will never happen. How can we go to fire without water? How can we go to fire with empty tank or half tank? These are things that we'll never do. We are Gambians, and we have all sworn to take our responsibility to risk our lives for others, to put out fires in order to make sure that their properties are saved. We will never go to fire. I know it was said, it has been said, but these are things that are not real. But we don't blame anybody. Perhaps they don't know, actually.
So that is not true?
No, that is not.
Okay. Normally with these fires, do you conduct investigations to know what was the cause of it? Or?
Very well. We always investigate as to how these fires are happening in the country. In fact, we came to realize that most fires happening in the country are preventable, provided people know exactly what to be doing. You know, there are safety tips, safety measures that we have to be applying wherever we have fire. But if these things are not being done, we'll eventually end up, experiencing fire outbreaks.
What has been the pattern? What has emerged? What has been the predominant cause of these fires?
There are numerous. One is electrical abuses, because electricity itself is not a problem, but the way we use them might be the problem. For example, overloading of sockets, but it starts with people not going for quality materials. Whenever we want to install electricity, we need to purchase or acquire quality electrical material. This is very important. Secondly, you need to give it to somebody who can do the installation. There are many people in the market, on the streets. But, there is one thing that is affecting us is that we have that, notion of, or you can see somebody who would use millions to build a house, but the person may not be willing to acquire a qualified, neither to provide or acquire a quality electrical materials. So if you don't do these things, we'll end up experiencing, fires that is related to electricity. The electricity itself is not the problem, but the way you consume or use.
Are you having sort of awareness campaigns for people to really know what to do, to prevent, sort of preventative measures, for people to take preventative measures?
Exactly. Apart from being appointed as the public relations officer, I'm also head of fire safety unit. Yes, what we do in this unit is to go out and sensitize people on fire prevention, protection, and also emergency response techniques. This we've been doing for 15 years now, since I was transferred to that unit. And as of today, I am the head of that unit as well.
Absolutely.
We are actually going to schools, going to radios. We are on several radio stations in the country. We provide trainings for people. I'm a trainer also for institutions on health and safety.
That's it. But I wonder, overall, how prevalent is this fire outbreaks? how would you put it?
The trend is there. Like I said, we need to be, conscious of fire disasters. And how can we be conscious? We have to recognize that destruction, these fires are inflicting on us as human beings and also on our properties. So unless we go to practice fire safety measures, we'll end up experiencing this trend. And the trend is not good for us. It's not good for the country.
Absolutely. But you also, what are you doing to improve your response time? When you're called, the time it takes you to respond. Because when you have stuff like faulty vehicles, can you imagine that? So what are you doing to really make your own response, your own system more efficient?
Yeah, this is why we are more proactive now, not reactive firefighting. We are more proactive. We want to inform people, we want to teach people, we want to educate people so that they know exactly what to be doing, so that we try to make the country a free fire outbreak country. It is not possible for any country to attain that 100%, but we are doing our best to make sure that people get the required information to stay safe in their
Do you think that it's having any effect, your training?
Come again, sir?
Do you think that it is, whatever you're doing now,
yes,
do you think that it is having any effect?
Yes, very well.
How do you measure that? How do you know?
Yeah, the rate is very high because before we initiated that unit, or that unit was formed within the structures of the Gambia Fire Rescue Service, many people didn't even know the numbers of our station. But today, many people can access those numbers, and also we are able to reduce the trend of fire breaks in the country.
What's the number?
I don't want to talk about figures here.
No, what I mean is the emergency number for people to call.
Yeah,
everybody should know that, isn't it? Really,
yes,
everybody.
Should know.
So what is it?
For Banjul is 4227 and Bakau is 4495 Kotu is 4463470, Serekunda is 4372707, Brikama is 4484559. Yeah, and other stations as well. But we have a free toll number, that is 118.
That's the one. That's really the one that people want. That's the free toll number.
118.
That's 111.
Yeah, people can call that on any network in the Gambia, and you will have the nearest fire station.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, well, we're coming towards the end of this segment. What advice, what would you want to say?
I would want people to recognize us as their servants, because they are paying us. We are working for them 24/7. And let them also play their roles. Both parties have a role to play. We are emergency service responders, but they are the people who are serving. So they need to be contacting us. Let them make sure that they always contact us on time.
Yes, but they will also complain that whenever they call you, the response time is very, very slow. So, everything gets burnt down. Isn't that the issue, really? The question of trust between people and such institutions as the fire service. We've been heard of situations where you will have people stoning your vehicle.
Exactly. As service providers, especially emergency responders, it is not easy. When people are in distress and then you are called upon, of course, they may not, what they would be expecting of you may not be actually what you can be able to do. For example, if you experience an outbreak of fire and you don't call us on time, sometimes you see people driving their cars to the station to report an emergency. Yes, imagine somebody driving a vehicle all the way from Sinchu to Serekunda, when there is a free toll 118 that you can call and be connected to Serekunda. Some will be running to come and report. Some will make relay calls. For example, somebody who knows my number or get my number can call me and I can relay the call to a fire station. These are, time consuming. Before you drive your car to a station or you run or ride a bicycle, you better call 118 so that we can respond on time.
Yes, sir. So is it that they do not know about the toll number, or is it that because of the situation they just stop thinking? What do you think?
Maybe they don't get our numbers because nobody will want our service, but anybody can need our service, especially if we are in distress. You need our service.
Absolutely. Yes. So now what next? how you guys are improving your systems. It must be very difficult because we tend to get this from institutions. You want to give service, but you don't get many resources. We hear that all the time.
Yes.
So what makes your job really difficult?
Yeah, like you said, that is persistent. We are under resource. Yes, we need resources. In as much as we want to operate as emergency responders, we need to have the required resources. Firefighting is very technical. It is risky, so you need to have the right resources to be able to implement your response effectively with precision. It is very important.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Kuyate, for making certain things clear.
Thank you very much.
We'll go for a short break. When we come back, the show continues.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte. Rifled in! Out.
Korealo neko anila kiu money wallet isa kiu power sanno katafo wulitan saba andung ita fenjola. Ibe minkela ibanna Apple download la wala yesta 323 has dial B yebula sartol noma. Follow ye register mita tombo. Fulanjao ye la mita nomba dundi. Yesta 323 has dial B yebula sartol noma. Follow iba number 3 la detela puri yakiu power soto no. Fulanjao iba number 1 la detela katombondir ke hapola ilafta min sanna. Amanda Wola, wati ye kodo dundi pour ka kiw pawasan, kiw sel be so la free bonus lale. Ni lafta kuma ko yo moyela nyinto, kumandiro ke 133. Kiw money, sunyu kalpe.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte. Rifled in! Out.
Ndax xam nga ne ak sa kiw money wallet bi mun nga jënda cash power te doo si fay dara. Mun nga jënda bello tollu si fanweeri junne dalasi. Jëfandikool ak suñu app bi wala nga dial *323 hash. Nga toppa sarta yi. Busal 3 pour jënda kiw power. Soo paree nga tànna register meter. Soo paree nga dugal sa meter number bi. Dial *323 hash. Nga toppa sarta yi.
Hello, welcome back. This is our final segment of the show. And in the studio here, I have two gentlemen from Ajib Bank. In the week, was it Friday or Saturday, they opened a new head office. So in the studio, I have got Mr. Moro J. Sawane. He's head of retail banking at Ajib. And I've got Mr. Ibrahim Job as well, who's corporate affairs officer of Ajib Bank. Gentlemen, welcome to this morning. I suppose what I have to say first is congratulations on opening your new head office. So perhaps first your reflections on that before we get into the details. You are Mr. Sawane, right? Yes. All right.
Thank you so much for inviting us. I think Ajib having a new head office is very symbolic. Symbolic in the sense that it is sending a message to not only in the Gambia but also in the entire African continent that Islamic finance, or we call it non-interest banking, is really growing, and Ajib, as the first and the only Islamic bank in the Gambia, is taking its rightful position in the non-interest banking evolution, of this continent. So it's not just a snapshot of events, but it's a manifestation that Ajib has taken its rightful position as the lead non-interest financial institution in the Gambia, but also in Africa.
Absolutely. Mr. Job, your
yes, thank you for having us. And as you just said, this new head office that we recently opened, it's not just a physical structure. It is a symbol showing the commitment of Ajib in improving its services for people, because it is something that we have always wanted. We want to develop as a bank, and we also want to make sure that we give back to people, and also in the best possible way that we can, in terms of customer service, in terms of the products that we have. And also, as I said, Ajib is an Islamic bank, as we all know. We don't deal in riba, and whatever we give out or take in, we always make sure that it is halal. So this is a great testament that Ajib is really building headway, and we look forward to achieving more progress. And it did not only stop there. When we did the grand opening of our head office on Friday, we went ahead on Saturday and won the final of the 2025 Interbank tournament.
I was going to come to that later. Absolutely. Not just great bankers, but great footballers. That's it. So, head of retail banking, tell us more about what the services you offer.
Thank you so much. Like I always say, Ajib Bank is unique in both our operations and the products that we offer to customers. All our actions, all our products are guided by the teachings of God and Sharia. First of all, before we even launch a product, we have an internal Sharia unit that normally vet the Sharia compliance of these products, because you can only roll out a product if it is Sharia compliant. So some of the products that we have, normally we have these normal savings accounts, which I can tell you from my experience, our savings account holders tend to get more investment returns on their savings than the normal conventional bank savings. You know, because Ajib is into business. We are not into money business, we are into real business. And we use customers' fund to venture into this business. This is why once the profit is set, our customers tend to earn more profits on their savings than normal, the conventional bank customers. Also, we have our own way of giving our loans. We call it financing, invoice financing. Because what we believe as Islamic finance is money cannot give back to money. You cannot give a loan to somebody and the individual is paying you in cash, and in return adding cash. So in that, cash is given back to cash. That equals to interest. And interest is forbidden in all religions, both Christianity and Islam. This is why our loan more or less is invoice financing. What we do is, let's say you want a loan. For example, you want to buy building materials. We have our own vendors that are dealing in building materials. We can ask you to get to our vendors and get things that you get invoice of things that you want to buy. So in essence, Ajib Bank is buying those products directly and giving it to you. So because if there is no commodity if there is no commodity in the equation, the transaction is not halal. This is why people will say Ajib Bank don't give loan. But I can tell you, statistics have shown that Ajib Bank give more loan in this country than any other bank. Both retail loans, commercial loans, give a lot of loans. But the way we do our financing differs with the conventional banks. And also we have another, very good product that a lot of civil servants enjoy. That is our handshake. Our handshake is just 10%. You can walk into any of the branches. And in fact, now we have modernized it such that you don't even go to the branch. You can call your relationship manager and get your handshake booked in your account. And the beauty of this is you don't need a guarantor. Your salary can be given to you, 40% of your salary can be given to you for 3 months without a collateral, without a guarantor. And I can tell you, if you come to Ajib and get your salary for 3 months, we are only charging you, and that is admin fee, 10%. Compare this to the conventional banks where you will be charged 21%. So you can see there is a huge difference in our pricing, because in Islamic banking, the philosophy is not entirely wealth generation, But how do you create an egalitarian society wherein wealth is redistributed from those who have it to those who don't have it, so that you create a society where at least everybody can live a happy and dignified life?
The golden handshake, is it? Mr. Job.
Yes, sir.
That's it. Let's hear your view from the corporate affairs angle.
Yes, we're really trying as a bank, and we have to give credit to whom credit is due, starting from chairman of the board of directors, coming to our MD and also management, because they've been really trying and supporting Ajib in terms of branding, in terms of visibility, and also not forgetting QTV and other media houses, because we are two sides of the same coin, and we are happy that you always stand by us. And as a bank, we are an Islamic bank, and it is not everything that we do which we can show to the public, because there are certain things, and as it is said in Islam, when you give out with your right hand, the left hand should not even know. So that is why we have very limited media visibility, but we are giving back to the public, because corporate social responsibility is something that is very important to us. And I would gladly say that we are even working on providing daily iftar for people in this Ramadan. And as you know, we are the main sponsors of the 2025 National Azan competition. And not only those, but we help a lot of sectors also, the health sector, agriculture, and a lot others. So we are really trying as a bank, coming up, putting out there, because we want to give back to the public. We want to show people that it is not only about profit, but it is also about distributing wealth. What we make, we say, give back to people and help them the best way we can.
Absolutely. So earlier on, who said about the football?
Yeah, I did.
Yes. So tell us about that. I didn't know, for instance, that there was an interbank competition.
Yes. The interbank football competition is normally organized to cherish late Governor Jatta. So we had the competition, and it normally lasts about a month or two. So Ajib, I could say, literally fell behind in the previous years. But we stepped up this year and said, look, things are changing for Ajib. 2025 is the year for Ajib. The green is getting bigger, and we need to register great achievements. So we had that in our minds, and then we went out there and gave it all out. And luckily, Allah supported us, and we came out as the winners of the Interbank tournament. And I say a big gratitude to management, like I said, for always supporting us, giving us what we need, and the team, as well as the technical team, for making sure that we went out there well prepared, and then we won the trophy. And also, when we won, we went to the house of our MD to celebrate it. And could you imagine, chairman came over to celebrate the joy with us. And this is what we know as a co-group. This is what we know as a bank. When we win, we all come out, celebrate, commemorate everything, and then acknowledge the efforts of people.
Absolutely. And the fact that, you know, it was just a day after that you had opened your new head office, which really means sort of like a growth, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what are the ambitions now for the future?
Like Ibrahim said, literally Ajib, the last football tournament, literally, you know, registered very insignificant achievements. But this year, like he said, 2025 is our year. And we have a lot in the pipeline, you know, in terms of our e-products, you know, in terms of our branch networks, in terms of our, you know, customer services. You know, we want Ajib to be the household name in this country. And it has started already, I can tell you, because the fact that people are now becoming aware of the effects of riba, and riba is haram in all religion, you know, both Christianity and Islam. This is helping us to propel Ajib to its rightful position. We getting a lot of customers, you know, with the belief that Ajib is 100% Islamic finance, 100% non-interest bank. And we have a lot of people out there who don't, you know, want to associate with the interest, and this is why they are coming to Ajib. And as us as a bank, we are also doing our best to make sure that we comply to those Sharia standards that govern Islamic finance. And I can tell you, 2025, December, you know, Ajib will rightfully be in its rightful positions, and the growth will definitely be registered in terms of, you know, our deposit, and also in terms of our customer base, you know, and overall achievement and growth of the bank. So we hope to have a very fruitful year 2025.
Mr. Job, what do you have to say to that? What do you have to add to that?
Yeah, thank you to Mr. Moro. And that is in the side of business, but in the side of giving back, I'll always go back to that. Because we are looking to grow, even when it comes to branch networks, customer base, and all of those. But most importantly, our corporate social responsibility. Most importantly, giving back to people and making them realize that Ajib is not only about within, but also giving back to people. And as I mentioned earlier, we are organizing daily iftar this year at the Youth Monument in Westfield. Every day we'll be out there giving help and then making sure that we provide food for iftar for the needy. And not only that, but also when it comes to other sectors also, we will support. As I said, in terms of football, we sponsor zones, Nawetan zones. Hospitals also, last time we went to Farafenye and made sure that we give them something. So we're really trying in all of these aspects, and this comes with the growth of the bank. If last year we did 5, this year we are saying, no, we are doing 10. And inshallah, next year we are doing 15. So we just want the growth to go side by side.
Absolutely, one step at a
and
time.
Mr. Mboj, I have a good news. So I said, let me share this with the viewers. We also understand that some of our brothers are normally, put into a vicious trap of loan repayment in conventional banks. So as an Islamic bank, we thought it wise to see how best we can help out these brothers. Some of them, they will have loans with conventional banks. And even if they want to transfer their salary, it becomes very impossible. So we have a product specifically for those people, where as an Islamic bank, if you have a loan that is equal to 50,000 or below, as an Islamic bank, we can take over this loan and charge you just $1,000 is administrative fee. Just $1,000 administrative fee. And that $1,000 is because the efforts and also the costs associated in bringing your salary from your current bank to Ajib Bank. Because us as relationship managers, we do most of the work.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. There, Mr. Sawane, Moro J. Sawane, Head of Retail Banking, and Mr. Ibrahim Job, Corporate Affairs Officer at Ajib Bank. So now, that's it. We've come to the end of this program. We're going to connect with Star TV for what another program. Enjoy it. Goodbye.